G4 in our family. Okay, not so much since we had kids, but pre-kids. Okay, my husband watched, I was in it.
Alright, you got one more lap. Man, you're just like really good
at
this.
You should be first place.
Yeah.
I think so. I never heard of G4 prior to marriage. Attack of the show.
I know they're just not using cash.
Just bad.
I feel like it's rigged. Well, actually, no.
No, because I for sure got last place.
Yeah.
Are you still in first place?
Yeah.
Complains bitterly about it.
Well, when you're not in first place, you get to like see kind of the outside features of the other cars that you're playing against. Like you kind of saw at the beginning. So that's kind of cool too.
And it's like the exact model.
And then these are really fun.
Also, like the numbers to the dealerships.
Oh yeah, they also had that on the app. They had phone numbers of local dealerships that were located near you, and you could call.
You would just press like map, and then it would give you directions right away to the nearest one.
And then set up your test drive.
So yeah, this version is like a little less interactive since the competition is still not going on, but it still is here to promote their product.
I know. I said just use one because we're actually up here.
Well, that and I feel like with sound it might be a little bit.
Yeah. Maybe because the iPad doesn't have sound on right now. I can't tell where like the like when you do a lap, like there's so many things that you go over.
Yeah.
I personally am not a big fan of this game, but I'm not a racer.
You're also at the Atari demographic, right?
Yeah, I'm not the target demographic.
Yeah. You just type in the code and then it expires.
Yeah, like when you get to the car wash place.
Only on purpose.
Only in purpose.
And it expires in 30 days from yesterday.
So my car thanks you.
Yeah.
Thanks for playing.
Okay. Now we're moving on to the evaluation of the actual event itself and the launch. VW's primary goals were to gain retail interest as well as buyer interest, obviously, and they wanted to make kind of a national buzz about the product itself, like the car and the game. And it's safe to say that they achieved both of those goals, all three of those goals. Like they exceeded them greatly. Media impressions were a big factor in creating the national buzz. And what a media impression is the interaction between various forms of social media and one consumer of that social media. So it's basically like a ratio 1-to-1. And this actually generated 255 million for the GTI project. During the course of the 6-week run. And then we also have media coverage, as they were saying earlier. 125 different media members were invited to the event, and that included bloggers as well as the normal press. And it was for the sneak peek in New York. And they all got to test drive the game. And the writers from the various publications helped kind of give people a better idea about the event and the app itself, and the car, obviously, but the game did that for itself. It was included actually in two parts of the New York Times, the online version, the Wheels blog, and the App of the Week column, so got some prestige on that. And it was also in USA Today, ABC News, Wired Magazine, Time.com, and Ad Age. And then in including those, it actually got like the most attention, probably, and the most prestige from gaming website reviews. Positive reviews kind of gave the app like a lot more prestige. Sites like Joystick, Engadget, Kotaku, and CNET allowed the campaign to push farther into the techie demographic, and I kind of have one positive article. I like one quote in here. The other articles I really couldn't find because I think they're so old that most people believe in them. Okay. Yeah, I just really like this this quote right here. You kind of read the first part yourself, but I like that it said, it allows us to connect with the savvy GTI customer within his or her everyday life in a way that no 30-second spot ever could. So it's basically saying, like, even though they didn't spend much on this project at all, the value of it just outweighed everything else. And obviously, monetarily, it paid off, as she was saying earlier. I think it was Rachel saying earlier that 25 $250,000 was spent initially on the public relations budget, and they ended up getting an equivalent of $2 million in ad revenue from that, which is, if you want to put that in perspective, that's an 800% return on their initial investment, which you don't have to know math that well to understand that that's a good investment.
You're in the black.
Yeah. Okay, so also they evaluated by the app downloads they got. They set the goal at 1.5 million app downloads, and again, they exceeded that category. They ended up with 3.7 million apps downloaded within the 6-week run. That was just within 6 weeks, so I mean, no telling how many they have now. Let me see. They actually managed to get 800,000 downloads within the first 6 days of the, actually the first 4 days after the launch of the app, which is pretty much unheard of. It also earned a couple prestigious titles. It got the title of #1 free app in the App Store. It also became the number one free global app in 36 of 59 countries, which the video had said earlier. It was also the top 5 list in countries with iTunes, in every country with iTunes. So that's 59 countries. The social media impact was also relatively apparent. They didn't dabble too much in social media for this project. They did have a Twitter handle as hashtag GTI 2010, and that actually reached the number 6 on the global trending topics within the first few days, within a week actually. And so yeah, that was basically it for the social media aspect of it. They didn't really have a Facebook page or anything, but they didn't need to because the app kind of spoke for itself. As far as the business impact of the entire the project, it proved very successful. The website experienced Volkswagen's home website experienced an 81% increase in weekly leads featuring the GTI over the 6 weeks. There was also an 86% increase in customer get a quote submissions, so that showed more interest in the car itself. That was in the GTI, the 86% increase. There was also an 80% increase in dealership test drives over that 6 weeks. And Volkswagen, by tracking the leads on their page during the 6 weeks, the leads were generated by the Real Racing GTI. Volkswagen discovered that a total of 85 cars were sold as a direct result of the game itself, which is good. I mean, 85 cars doesn't sound like much, but over 6 weeks is pretty, that speaks kind of volumes. So.
Is that worldwide, or?
I think so. I'm assuming so.
Everything else has been worldwide. So
yeah, I mean.
Global.
So I mean, but that's like, no telling how much the game actually helped out in the long run, but in the short run, based on the leads, directly related from the leads generated from the game.
From the competition.
Yeah.
And you also think about, even though this particular campaign was for the GTI, I'm sure there was an impact on the rest of the Volkswagens too, the
right.
Jettas and whatever else they make. Right?
And the GTIs.
Right. Okay. And kind of based on all these results, it's safe to say that this risky, innovative new approach proved successful for Volkswagen, and obviously with the return of money and ad revenue was unheard of pretty much, with not having to spend, they only had to spend $250,000 which for a campaign is ridiculous. The company successfully targeted its sought-after male demographic with this campaign, and you can kind of see now in the future, or in the present right now, it's kind of continued to do so with its ad campaigns that have followed. And this is another campaign that they've done, which is actually, I think it's from a few months ago actually. Let's see. Yeah, it's just kind of an article, it's not really video or anything. Let's see. Articles here. Okay, here we go. So yeah, basically this article is just saying that the Beetle now is being targeted towards males, which it hadn't really before, and it kind of follows along with the GTI. Like Volkswagen wanted their name in general to be associated with males too, as well as females. But the Beetle itself, this is kind of like a new ground for them, trying to target towards males. And they had this video called, it's like the High Five commercial, and it's like obviously targeted towards males, but. Other than that, let's see. Yeah. Okay. We got a couple more questions. Anybody?
How many cars were sold?
During the course of the campaign.